are Metasource Games. I'm Robert Trusardi.
And I'm Joshua Aridhol Cantrell. We believe in scarcity-based gaming and the power of player ownership.
We are a small team focused on becoming #1 in blockchain and metaverse gaming.
So get ready and take a ride with us through the Metasource.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Through the Metasource, episode number 9. Can you believe that we have done 9 of these now? I am Robert Trusardi, the creator of Castles and Metasource Games, and with me here is my full business partner, Joshua Aridhol Cantrell. How are you doing, Josh?
Doing really good. Really happy to be here. I'm on my laptop, everybody. So if my audio quality is a little bit weird, hopefully it's not too bad. But definitely bear with us a little bit.
Yeah, you're looking pretty good there in the tavern, the Two Brooks Tavern there, which people get to know more about as time goes on here. But hello, guys. Good to see you. Let's see who's in the chat. We've got Culinary Jedi. He said he was first in line. Davis Istanbul. I'm still not exactly sure how to say that. Is it just like Davis Istanbul? Is it Davis Istanbul? They'll have to let us know sometime. Malice Guy, Warrior Line Gaming, who covers us on YouTube. Thank you for being here. We're actually going to do a live stream with him next Tuesday at what time? 11 a.m. PST, something like that.
No, I don't know that we've scheduled that one yet.
I thought we did. I thought it was going to be next Tuesday with Warrior Lion. You let us know, Warrior Lion. I thought it was next Tuesday. We need to make an announcement. Either way, it's going to be very quick here. Von Condor, James Diaz, Locked 31, one of our very long-time supporters. Cree 24B, not sure how to say that. Northside. Gosh, so many of you guys. Thank you for joining us. I see Devon Metal, our community support manager, Kate Peters, also a really great community member on our Discord. Julian M., one of our moderators. Thank you for joining us. All right, Christopher A. Taylor, we banned you, but thank you for coming to see us here on the YouTube. We appreciate your support. Yeah, good to see you guys. So today we've a lot of really cool stuff in store. We're going to hold the Raffle event for the Explorers Guild. So there's going to be a castle, a baron, a bunch of bounty packs given away in this raffle prize. So I think we had like just over 1,000 people who was it 1,000 points or 1,000 people? Was it
1,000 crafts?
Bounty? Right, it was over just 1,000 crafts.
Yeah.
How many individual wallets was it? Was it less than?
I don't know that one off the top of my head.
I guess it doesn't matter because we're just going to throw them all in and they're all going to count as 1 point anyways per craft. So we're excited. We're going to hold that. Should be pretty quick, I think, right? We're going to do like one game of Crittercraft, and then that game of Crittercraft is basically going to be just the one, right?
Yeah.
Do I have that right? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So we're gonna do the one game of Crittercraft because they basically adjusted some of their basically the way it works. So we're gonna do Crittercraft instead today, and then we're going to do some minor announcements. We're going to talk about some fun stuff. Josh wants to talk about some of the token supply stuff and burning and some things like that. So that'll be exciting. And last but not least, we'll have an AMA. We'll talk about dungeons. Definitely Dungeons is coming out more. Actually, some new features just went live on the site like about an hour ago. So those are now live on the site, land crafting. And very soon you'll be able to craft the hero pack Roon fragments in less than an hour, actually. So at 2 p.m. we do plan to launch the Roon source fragment for the hero packs, and so you'll be able to craft those right around 2 p.m. that'll be fun. So, before we get started, Josh, why don't we go ahead and roll the trailer for the new Castles trailer for Dungeons Rising. Now, you may have seen this already. We actually have almost 3,000 views on the trailer right now, which is pretty great. I think it was Holidays, one of our users. He said he was running around the internet sharing it. I think it made quite a bit of difference. I think the other trailer only has about almost 4,000 views, so we're already very close to surpassing that. But I'll go ahead and play that trailer for you now, and then we'll move right along. All right.
Hello again, friend. You were magnificent. True to your word and a reliable partner. I could not have built the Royal Courthouse or Explorers Guild without you. Together, we finished our contract before Viscount Eisendorf could, forcing him to pay mountains of debt. Now bask in your bounty rewards. You deserve them. But who would I be if I didn't share a new opportunity? There is trouble brewing on the wind. And where there is trouble, there's coin to be made. Rumor has it that a rogue mage by the name of Luna Zenitha has a reward out for her capture. To make matters complicated, her last known sighting was a sleepy town called Two Brooks, which has been overrun by monsters. Our realm is headed for conflict, and the question is, whom do we side with? The arcane stronghold and its wizards? Do we exploit these monsters as a valuable resource? What of this Luna? Should we capture her, or investigate the origin of these tidings? Whatever you choose, I know in my bones there is glory to be had here. Let's go, friend! On to our next adventure!
And there we have it, guys, the Dungeons Rising trailer, which is going to be the next chapter in Castles, the NFT game. So hopefully you guys were able to see that play back and hear the sound all right and everything. But the voice actor is not us, actually. It is Stephen Kelly. Found him on voices.com. He's a great voice actor. And did a great job there with the Baron. Maybe we'll use him again. We like him. And if Baron shows up again, I'm pretty sure you'll see us try to get him for the Baron again. But there we go. So the story's kind of coming together here. There's a warrant out for Luna's capture, and there are going to be some opportunities inside of dungeoning. And we do plan to start releasing more of the story probably in the next couple of weeks. There's a lot for us to do with a very small team, and but we do want to start releasing the story as soon as possible. Some of you guys may know that I used to work in Hollywood. Before I left Hollywood, I was kind of actually starting to transition from becoming an editor into a real screenwriter. I've written 2 feature film scripts that were paid for by a company called Voyage Media, but they were not released. So basically, they weren't made into movies. I was just hired to write them. And I was also a finalist in the Blacklist Screenwriting Labs, and the Blacklist is basically one of the most prestigious script organizations in Hollywood. So story's kind of important to me. I can't promise it's going to be, the next. I'm trying to think of a great movie that was really well written. I don't know, like Schindler's List. This is a little dark, right? It's not quite like that, but I can't promise it's going to be the next Academy Award winning film. Or something like that, but story is important. I think hopefully you guys will like these characters and the challenges they're facing. All of them: Luna, Sir Caldor, Bancroft, the thief. They all kind of have things that they want and things that keep getting in the way. And the way their stories intermix, we think is going to be fun. Is going to continue to lead into the future of castles and next expansions of dungeons. So look forward to that stuff. Let's see. James Dean says, "You have us, you're a big team, don't forget." Well, thank you. Yeah. I wish maybe there's one of you over here to I don't know, do my work for me when I take naps. But anyways,
I'm enjoying this comment from Lewis.
Oh yeah,
he wants to see Luna and the Carpenter fight, and and
mud fight or
Devissemble, a mud. Yes, he added in the mud. Yeah, I don't know if we can manage to work that into the story, but we'll keep it in mind.
We have to keep it fair though, because we probably don't have many, female players. But just in all fairness, if we have Luna and the Carpenter fight, we have to have like probably Sir Caldor and the Lumberjack fight in the mud pit too, But keep it fair for all the ladies out there. So why don't we just go ahead and you want to jump into the Raffle part of the stream, and then we'll jump into all the other stuff, the token burning, minor announcements, and AMA stuff. And just get this out of the way, right?
Yeah, sounds great. I'll share the link here for everybody. It'll be in our Discord announcements channel. I won't ping, but I'll post it. This is the spreadsheet link for all the crafters of the Explorers Guild bounties. So that is now available for you. You can see everybody. There is, if you're interested in looking at the list, there is just over 1,000. 1,045 total packs were crafted. And of course, we pre-minted 3 of each to give away in this raffle. So there's a tiny bit more than that in total Explorers Guild bounties. But yeah, look, it was a really great event. Everything went really well, and we'll jump right into it. And hopefully I'll be able to get those rewards distributed pretty quickly for everybody. I usually can do that pretty fast. So, towards the tail end of the stream, I'll start working on it. And you never know, maybe even have it done distributing before we're even out of the stream. So you guys can start sharing your lucky pulls. As Robert said earlier, as per usual, there's a castle, there's a baron, mints 1, 2, and 3, as I mentioned, of each of the high and low bounties for the Explorers Guild, and then a whole smattering of other things, a couple of packs, and a whole bunch of other lands.
All right, we might not be able to do Criticraft because my browser, I go to the website and the browser tells me that it's out of date.
Oh no.
And yeah, and so I can update my browser, but I'm using it right now, so I don't think that's very smart.
Well, we could try and do it on mine.
Mm-hmm. That's okay too. If worst comes worst, we do marbles. So
let's try it. I ran it yesterday. I did a test run and it worked. My only question is how well it's going to do with my screen being shared. My internet here is not quite as good as mine at home, but everybody says it's been okay so far, right? Nobody's been having any trouble hearing me. Any objections?
No objections for me.
No objections. Okay. No objections, then I've got it. I've imported the list. Hold on, let me...
James D is asking, why are we not streaming on Discord? Well, Discord doesn't have all the bells and whistles. And yeah, it's really not designed for a stream like this. It would be way different. Be like the lo-fi version. We were doing it on Discord.
Yeah. Okay. It's a little different. I don't have a second screen, so I have to share window Criticraft. Okay. All right.
Yeah, your screen's a bit blurry, but it's probably just, streaming past where you're at.
Okay. So it's ready for you whenever you want to pull it up.
I see. Cool.
Okay. Well, hopefully this isn't too laggy for everybody, but you can see if you look at the very last person on the list there, it's the same as the last person on the list of the crafters. And I will scroll up to the top so you can see that the first person is also the same. There you go. So everybody can see that I've pasted that in, and we will run it.
Yeah, and it always lags even on my computer. I don't think I've really seen actually the one place I've seen that it didn't really lag was we did a stream the other day with Breakman, and his played back pretty smoothly. And I think about it now, I don't know how he managed to do that, because whenever
How
I
many
do it from here, it always lags. But
how
he was using
many
different
users did he
software
have?
actually. I think he'd like in between like 30 to 50.
Oh, it's probably just that.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
Yeah. It tends to get better performance as it goes.
Maybe.
We lost about 150 of the grubfish so far.
I
Rip.
think that, yeah.
Oh, gnarly.
Boom. 774.
I'm not sure how anybody could pick themselves out of this, but if you can, hopefully you don't die.
We'll just kill a bunch more of them, and we'll be able to see ourselves.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm looking for mine right now. Where am I?
So the way it's going to work is the top
392.
top 392 will be
Yep.
getting a prize pack, and multiple winners are allowed. It's all based on basically one raffle craft is 1 point. Points, and you are able to win multiple times for one wallet.
Absolutely. Yeah, consistent with the last few. We just thought Marbles cuts off at 1,000, and so Crittercraft, we were able to get those extra 45 wallets in. That way everybody has exactly equal chance.
Lewis says all he sees is NRP toy store. Toy store.
He's
like,
everywhere.
Yeah, he is everywhere. You guys ever play the Halo, and they had the little I forget what they called the little one, Grunt maybe, but but they say like they're everywhere. But it's always just you. Like you're the only one who's ever fighting them. So it's always found it hilarious, because you do the one player and they run away from you, and they're like they're everywhere. They're like there's only one of me, Master Chief.
Something's about to blow. Boom. Oh, that took a lot with him. We're under 100 now, guys. It's starting to look smooth on my end. Oh, I see myself. I have at least one grubfish left. Oh, I see healthy.
Now this guy says, see if I can continue my streak of not winning. Well, my fingers are crossed for you to win. In that top, I think your chances are pretty good. What is it? Everybody has a 40% chance of winning, or something like that.
Yeah,
not bad.
I'm still alive. Oh man, I almost won.
EUBG.WAN, and they get something special, right? We should give them something special. Yeah.
Sure.
The last one live. What? You were number 2? What?
I was number 2.
What? Hacks. Remember the last time, guys, where he was opening up his packs, and he got like a high bounty and I call shenanigans.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Now he's number 2 winner. If you were number 1, then I don't know. I'd have to get you audited or something.
All right. So if you've got the same spreadsheet, I'm pasting it in. Here we go. And there it is.
The top 300, whatever.
Yeah, it gives you. It actually gives you all of them now.
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah, it gives you all of them. It used to only give you the top 24, which is one of the main reasons why we stopped using Grubfish, is because that's just not enough. It just wasn't even close to enough output. We'd have to run the Grubfish like 20 times, and it gets laggy, as you guys saw. And we don't want to deal with that. All right. So I deleted everybody after 392. And so now you can see the top 1 through 392. Oh, whoa. There we go. And that's your full list. If you're in that list, you are going to get a raffle prize. Congratulations, guys.
Nice. There we go. Yeah, I see it now. So thank you, Josh, for running that. So we'll be sending out those packs like sometime by tomorrow?
Oh, it'll be. I'll be able to get it done today for sure. I have to format them in just a tiny bit in order to get them to export, so it takes a teeny bit of time. But it's no big deal.
Whew. Nice. Malice Guy says he won something today. Yay! Congratulations, Malice Guy. That's good to know. Good to see. So congratulations to the winners. That is now updated the sheet on Discord. So if you want to see the sheet, go ahead, go to our Discord, and that has been posted. You'll be able to see everybody who was basically participating in the raffle, and then you'll see the winners on the right-hand side. Super awesome. Congratulations to all the winners, and fingers crossed for you guys for something awesome inside of your packs. So the rest of the show, we're going to talk about like some token burning, and then probably some minor announcements, but let's move on to the token burnings. You wanted to chat a little bit about what's been going on with the tokens and supply and all that?
Sorry, there we go. Yes, absolutely, I do. I did give a little bit of a teaser for this in Discord. So some of you, if you've been looking at that, you may already know about this, but we did a big time burn of tokens today. And so I did want to kind of just spend a few minutes to go over some of the tokenomics, basically the things that are currently circulating, and just kind of give everybody a little bit of an update. So by the numbers, remember we had our Metasource fragments for sale, and over 1,000 of those sold. So that's over 1 billion Metasource that we had slated to be burned. And just in case you wanted to find out about that, if you look on EOS Authority, or if you look on blocks and check some transactions, we burned, as a matter of fact, over 4 billion Metasource today. 4 billion Metasource. So if you look at the circulating supply now, I have it on a different window. Looks like the current circulating supply now is about 1.9 billion, down from about 5.9 billion earlier today. I have some screenshots. I'll share those in the Discord later, so that everybody who isn't watching the stream will have the ability to kind of take a look at those. And then looking at, let's do it in order. So the next token that we burned was lumber, of course. All of the lumber held in contracts and things like that from different crafting events, from recharging your carpenters, things like that. That lumber was burned today also. That added up to, I have the numbers here, something like, this is approximate. I have the exact numbers, but 270,000 lumber or so, pretty close to, which leaves the circulating supply of only 18,652 lumber is circulating right now. That is all. That is a humongous cut. We burned something like 95% of all the lumber. So the actual circulating supply now is under 20,000. That's pretty awesome. And then moving to fine wood, we didn't burn any Roon source yet, obviously. That will be coming after. But for fine wood, the circulating supply of fine wood was something close to 370,000 or so. And now, after having burned over 350,000 fine wood, there is only 17,251 fine wood available. That is the total circulating supply, and you can go on blocks or EOS Authority and verify any of these things yourself. You can look through the transaction logs to see all the burns. And like I said, we have, I took some screenshots before and after kind of a thing, so you can see all the numbers for yourself. I'll make sure that they all get posted so that it's fully transparent. But that is a heck of a lot of burning today, guys. That is what we have committed to doing. We do not sell these tokens as a company. We do not sell the Metasource at any point. We don't sell any of the lumber that you send to us from crafting events. It doesn't re-enter the supply pool. It is all totally burned, and we committed that to you guys, and we made it real. We made it happen today. So it's a pretty awesome thing. Hopefully that'll have some interesting effects on the supply. That is entirely up to you guys what happens. But in order to get some more Rune Source for those Rune Source fragments, the only way to do it is to spend fine wood on crafting land packs. And crafting land packs, the fine wood has to come from recharging your carpenters with lumber. That lumber is only going to come from recharging your lumberjacks with Metasource and Royal Seals. And so that really is our game loop. That is where we have finally achieved that. And I'm sure Robert probably wants to talk some more about that game loop too. But we're really happy with the game loop. Hopefully everybody is really starting to see the full vision of this first phase. We're also really happy with the new website. We did, as Robert mentioned earlier, we rolled out some bug fixes and some interface changes to make things a little smoother. But we are still taking feedback. Of course, please leave feedback and suggestions if you find anything that seems to have any trouble, or if you find any new bugs, always let us know.
Nice. What was the supply percentage-wise that was burned for fine wood?
Here, let me give you a number. Okay, so it was about 372,000. Something is almost 95%.
So it's pretty much the same as lumberjacks then.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's pretty awesome, and I think that just means that people who want to craft things now realizing that they just need to recharge those lumberjacks and get more fine wood. So yeah, I mean, that is the game loop. We've been looking forward to having that up for a while. We think it's really making the inner game economy extremely strong, and even inside of this incredible bear market with like crypto and the stock market. We think consumer spending is probably going to go down a bit, and so how that's probably going to impact our game is that there may be slightly more challenges in like onboarding new users right now, but in terms of the in-game economy, we think it's very strong. We're retaining a lot of users. If you look at our latest article for, actually, let me bring these up. Let's go to Metasource. What is it? It's Medium. So let's open that up, and then let's open up. Let's see. Castles. This is what I want.
To answer a question while Robert's getting that pulled up, Curtis is asking info about the lumberjack burning. I don't think that we're going to announce that today, but probably very early next week. And Robert mentioned this the other day, so I'll repeat it for everybody who's here and anybody who is watching later. We probably won't burn all the lumberjacks that we want to burn all at once. It'll probably be done in stages, 1,000 here or maybe 2,000. And then, a couple weeks later, we'll do another section of them, things like that. So that's probably what you can expect from that. And we will have that information now that the Explorers Guild is done. The bounty crafting is through. We will have that very shortly. But probably not today. It'll probably be very early next week.
All right. Can you see the screen share pretty well? Is that showing up?
Yeah, looks good.
All right, cool. So this was the latest Medium article that I wrote, and many of you are probably very familiar with this, which is that we now have a full game loop here where barons make lands and lands produce Metasource tokens. You can merge lands to get a chance to gain new lands. And then really the whole point here is to make a castle, so that's getting you royal seals, and those royal seals get you access into basically the best parts of the crafting system, recharging lumberjacks, carpenters, and the land packs. So, and eventually this leads into dungeons here coming up and the land doubling. So, one of the points I really try to, get home here in the article is that we think there's a lot of players who come into the game and they're, they kind of come with like an investing mindset. So look at the game, they're like, oh, well, like how much, tokens is a land going to make me? And is that going to make me profit? And when's the profit on my farm? And, we think this is kind of a mistake coming into the game to think of it that way, because we are a game. It is meant to be played. It's not really meant to be like you buy an item and then you sit on it for a long time and then you make your money back in like 1 or 2 months, which is what a lot of these games promised their players. And pretty much almost all those games are no longer really around. Or if you go check their secondary marketplaces, like, nobody's playing them anymore. There was one project I just thought of today, and I was like, gosh, whatever happened to that one project? It was like Krypton Robot, I think. And I was like, I remember looking at that and it looked like maybe it had some real development behind it. And then I was like, gosh, whatever happened to it? Went look it up. It's had like $13 on its secondary market trading today. And I was like, yikes. I'm like, that. I don't know what happened to that game, but it is typical of what's happening with a lot of these other games. And so, what we've worked on doing as a game is we wanted this to be a great game for the players, and we also needed it to be sustainable for us, the game developers. And I think this is where a lot of these other games failed, even if they were a legitimate project with legitimate team. I think eventually they kind of realized that the cost of developing such a project like ours, NFT game, wasn't sustainable for them, because they didn't think of a sustainable model for the game itself. So, and so when it comes to the castles and royal seals and how all of that works, we really wanted to make this, sustainable for us, sustainable for the players, for them to see value and continue playing. And the whole reason that we made this game was because we want to own our game assets. We want to own them, but owning them isn't enough. We want to have a reason to play with them. We want to have a reason to have something that is cool and scarce. There's only like 1,000 or 5,000 of something, but as the game grows, it's really cool to have an item that there's only 1,000 of, like say a castle. And as more players come in, if there are 1,000 players, only 1,000 castles, you can bet that those players are going to be fighting over castles, because there's just not enough for everybody to have like more than one or a couple. So we've kind of built the whole economy in mind. And one of the things that shows me that we're doing something right is really the price history of the royal seals. And it did kind of go between like $6, and right now it's gone anywhere between like $4.20 to like $3.60 or something. But I think this is really an identifier for whether or not we're keeping up with the inflation of the assets versus the new players coming into the game. And definitely, there's some kind of downtrend here in the royal seal. Part of it's the market, and we have to take responsibility in that. Part of it's just the way we market the game and onboard new users. So there are challenges there. I obsess every day about how do I promote the game in a way that people see the opportunity in the game, and that it's easy for them to get onboarded with. So, it's some things are kind of too early to talk about right now, but there are all kinds of things that we're thinking of, making like an easy demo. This is something I just started to think of today, was just building like a demo where people can play it and see how the game is played, making it more accessible so that people know like what a great combination of items is. Like, did you know that one castle and 1 lumberjack and like 2 to 3 carpenters is a great way to basically get started in the game. You add a baron to that mix, it becomes really nice because you're basically able to make new land packs and merge lands quite often. So, it's kind of getting that information out to people, letting them see the opportunity that is blockchain gaming, and also, helping them figure out how to play the game, how to get onto Wax. So there's all those challenges there, but we think we're doing really well. If you've been on Wax and you've been paying attention, you can probably just like look behind yourself and at the Wax eco space and just see that they're just corpses littered all over the place with basically other failed games, games that didn't quite make it. Let me stop sharing my screen there. And so we think things are working, and we're working harder every day to make it better and get more players into the game. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. And I'm also trying to say it's, I'm not sure that we've always made it clear that, the castle is really the king of the game. And I think this is also something that we kind of learned as we were building the game, which is that, what people are really interested in is getting the rare stuff before it gets hard to acquire. And I mean, that kind of follows the philosophy that we had, but the more that we see it in, actually happening, that people like merging, that people like opening packs, that people like getting the rare stuff like castles, the more we see that game loop, that cycle is really great. Like people love that. People love the merging. They love the opening the packs to see what they got. And what the dungeoning is going to introduce is basically like really a lot of really great trading interactivity. Trading your monster that is vulnerable to the spellbinder, to someone who has a spellbinder if you don't have one. And if you loot, like, let's say, a mythic knight piece of armor, but you have a thief, well, then you're probably going to want to trade that mythic armor to a thief who can actually use it, or buy yourself a mythic thief. Those are your options. So, we think this is going to add a whole new layer to the game, and we really expect it's just going to blow up. Big thing that we got to do is just keep basically promoting it, let people know the game is here, how to play it, and make it easier for themselves. But my suggestion, if you play this game, you like it, tell your friends about it. Let them know that, like, the thing they want to get is a castle, a lumberjack, and a couple of carpenters and a baron. That stuff will set them up really well. And I think the more time has gone on, the more that we've shown our strength as a game, and that this game works and that we're committed to it. So, so I just kind of wanted to talk about those things. And really quickly, let's jump into some of the features that just went live on the site. I actually want to go ahead and share one of these features. There we go. Let's go back to the good old screen sharing. That is not the right screen. Oh, this is the right screen. All right. So this is one of the new features that we just went live with today, which is the Landcraft Raffle points. So if you go to the Castle's website right now, you will see basically a little counter here for tracking your raffle points. I have been crafting a lot of lands. I do play the game. So we are now at 2,100 and 211. Oh my gosh, is that how we say that? I don't know why it's like just like a little weird there. But this is how many lands we've crafted, and this is how many we have to go until the first raffle event. So getting pretty close there. So once this basically hits 350,000 farms minted, then we're going to hold a new raffle just like this, like we're having today. And it's going to include, if you click on the rewards page, it's going to include 3 Exalted Hero packs, 9 Standard Hero packs, and a smattering of a Castle Baron and lands and land packs. So that is now counting down. And just kind of similar to the way that the raffles work for the events. 1 point is going to be 1 entry. Multiple wins are allowed per an account. It's all based on points. And if you click this little to the right sign, you're also going to see that we now have a counter. This is actually a different counter. You can see it changes. A counter for getting to the first doubling. So as you can see here, it says the first cost doubling occurs at 500k farms minted. This doubles the cost of crafting land packs, recharging barons, and more. So that's going to mean, doubling the cost of recharging castles as well. And basically the earnings of barons will stay the same, but the earnings of castles will change and be augmented a little bit. So basically, it'll go up somewhat. It's probably not going to double. There's going to be a curve to the reward of castles, but we still think castles are great, are a great reward, a great asset to be building in the game. So Apex NFT, who are partners, Victor's the CEO of Apex NFT, and they really did a great job putting this page together. Really cannot say enough great things about them. We do come up with like the game systems and game design and stuff like that, but they do build the website, they build the smart contracts and all the stuff that makes the game go round. And they're just really killing it. I actually didn't think this was going to go live until Monday, and they made it go live today. So that is how awesome they are. This page is up right now, which is the hero packs. Now you won't be able to craft a Rune Source pack just yet. At least you shouldn't, I think. Yeah. So it's going to say that this is in maintenance for the next like 15 to 18 minutes. And then in about 18 minutes from now, you will be able to craft these Rune Source fragments. And basically, you will be able to use these fragments, which is the Metasource, Rune Source, and wax fragments, to craft the first Dungeons, Rising Standards, and Exalted Hero packs. So a standard hero pack has 1 hero and 3 equipment, ranging from common to uncommon, right? And the Exalted pack has 2 heroes and 7 equipment, ranging from common to rare. And so your only chance of rare right now is inside the Exalted pack. And this is kind of an example of what they might look like. There's 3 hero classes, 11 different equipment slots, including the base. And you get to customize your heroes, and there's 3 color variations. There's almost endless possibilities with how you can make your heroes look. And yeah, so there's we haven't released a date yet for when the wax fragment and the actual crafting of the packs is going to come. It's probably going to be early next month. And again, this is just pre-sales, so it's still probably going to be until we think maybe August sometime that you'll be able to actually open these packs, and hopefully soon after you'll be able to open them, you'll be able to start kitting out your character, and you'll be able to go in and basically like create your character and adjust what they look like. We might roll out the actual fighting a little bit after that, but I think we probably can get you at least the character customization fairly sooner than say the dungeon fighting. But Apex has been killing it, so it wouldn't surprise me if I expect them to have something done at X time, but then they get it to us like much sooner than I thought, because they've been really awesome that way. They're workaholics, just like we are. I think you'd have to confirm with Victor. Don't want to label him, but yeah, they've been doing amazing. And so we just keep adding more awesome things. So we'll be taking questions about all of this stuff in a couple of moments here. But I don't know, any things that I might be leaving out that you think, Josh? Any
no, I think you did a pretty good job. The only thing I wanted to add, if you want to go back to the land pack crafting page, we got some feedback. There you go, thanks. We got some feedback in here that this would be a really, really great place to start also showing a leaderboard. And so that is something that we are thinking about, and we should have something mocked up and built hopefully next week. We'll have some kind of a cool leaderboard. So right now you can already see your raffle points that you've made, but you have to go into the contracts and blocks in order to see other people's points. And so what we're looking at doing is, maybe a top 10, something like that, where you can see who the current top 10 in the raffle points, who they are. It'll just be based on wallets and things like that. But that'll be pretty cool. So you can kind of have a little competition with everybody, and I think that'll be fun. We'll see. It should be fairly easy since we already have the contracts and the tracking and everything. It should be fairly easy to add that in, and I think everybody will enjoy that.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Let me see if there was anything else that we're forgetting. I do have a list. No, looks like I think we're pretty well.
All right, cool. Yeah, if anything else, I'm sure, there might be other little minor announcements we think of making, as we do the stream. But yes, why don't we just kind of jump into interacting with you guys again, look and see what you guys are saying. James Diaz says biggest issue is seals, and not an issue like a bad thing, but one castle and crafters not enough. Yeah, with the seals, like that was really the whole premise of the game was, if we give you guys consumables like we would give you in Candy Crush or was it Castle, was it Royale, something Royale, Clash Royale, but we really make that a fundamental part of the ecosystem where seals are used for so many things, and you can either buy them direct from us for $5 or from other players and be able to use them. We really thought that was a great premise. I mean, I love that idea. I build this game, I constantly think like, if I were you, the players, like how would I want me to take care of you? Like, if I were one of you, like how would I want, the developer to take care of me as they're building this game, and what's the best way that they can do it. So we're always thinking about that, and how we can create a generous system. And we think that the way the Royal Seals work is possibly one of the most generous things that we've seen inside of blockchain gaming and player ownership gaming. And our big job now is just marketing. Josh and I are not Silicon Valley elite. So when we first started building this, it wasn't like, hey, let me call up Zuckerberg and be like, hey, I need like one of your best marketing guys to help me out. Like, who do you know, bro? Hook me up. Like, we don't have anybody like that. Instead, it's just me and Josh. We're just like, well, we need more players. Like, we got to open up, think outside the box, since we haven't existed in this space in this way before. I came from movies, and Josh was the CFO of his parents' construction company. And Josh has been knocking it out of the park. I was telling him the other day that he was a born marketer. Like he's actually really good at marketing partnership thing, and I know it's not something he's done before, but like could have fooled me, man. Like he's doing a great job with it, and really just killing it when it comes to those things. And so that's really all there is for us on development side to do, is continue to think outside the box there in terms of marketing and onboarding new users. And I think that's really the only thing that's in the way of the game getting even more traction. It's just that. 'Cause I think we have a great game and people seem to really enjoy playing it. So what we have to do is just let people know that it's here and how to play and how to get started. So Julian says he has a question. When kitting out your character with different NFTs, will they merge NFTs, burn, and create new ones, or will it just be front-end driven? I'm not sure what you mean by front-end driven, but yeah, you will be able to merge heroes up to the epic level. So our thinking is that legendary and the mythic heroes should be earnable only, right? I think I might need to kind of do that so they can see us and not get covered by things. But
I think he's probably talking about equipping our heroes.
The equipment?
Yeah, so when you're equipping your heroes, you won't be burning the equipment onto the hero. It will be front end driven. The way that it'll probably work, and obviously we're still working out the contracts and things, we want to make sure we optimize them so that it's not using a whole ton of extra CPU and things like that when you're doing your actions. But the way that it will very likely work is that you'll essentially stake your heroes and equipment into the contract. And then anything you have staked in the contract will be available for you to select from. And so your equipment then will either be used on that hero or not used. And if it's not used, it can be used on a different hero. But that will all be visually done from the front end. And in the contract, it'll just be a series of, okay, this is held in the contract, so it's available, but it's equipped on this hero, so you can't use it for your other heroes, things like that. So it'll be very front end driven, but in order for it to be front end driven, the equipment and heroes themselves will need to be staked in the contract in order for you to equip them that way.
Yeah, I kind of do understand the question better now. Thank you, Josh, for helping me there. And really, this is kind of a question for our partners at Apex NFT. We've kind of talked about different things. I think we do like to keep things on chain as much as possible. So I think a possibility, this may or not be feasible depending on, because there are like limitations to the smart contracts and what they can do. And like, even just like, I think like kilobyte size wise, I think a smart contract can't be more than, it's like 128 kilobits or something like that. So, they can only be so big. But I think ideally how it would probably work is that you have your hero, you deposit the hero into the smart contract, and then when you're creating your hero and what they look like, it then takes all of those NFTs that you wanted to attach to it for its cosmetics, sword, shield, those kinds of things, and then it will attribute it to your account. And then you'll be able to basically manipulate what you have available to you on the smart contract there. And on the front end, ideally would just take like a snapshot of what you look like so that it can use that in other places in the website. So the website has like a front end memory of what your hero looks like, but then on the back end, or rather the smart contract end on the blockchain, there is a memory of what you have inside of that particular smart contract. And ideally, that smart contract is going to hold all of the NFTs for everything that's been ingested into it, the equipment, the heroes. And then when you want to export it to basically sell it out on the market, then you would just do that. You'd export the hero and it would disassemble all those NFTs and then send it back to you in the mints that you had. Ideally, that's how it would work. But there's a lot that goes on there. There's a lot that may not be possible on the smart contract end. So it's going to be a conversation. There's really no doubt in our mind that we can make it work. Just like how it works exactly, we're not exactly sure. But we do want as much as possible to be happening on the blockchain. Pretty much, everything. There's almost literally nothing that doesn't happen on the blockchain right now. We do have a script that sends out the tokens every day for Roon source, but otherwise for the Explorers Guild, but otherwise everything else is like 100% on chain. No real automation at all. It's just all you do an action, and then the game gives you something, and then that's it. So we do want to keep it on chain as possible, just because it feels better, feels more secure, and I think fulfills on the promise of blockchain gaming there. And in terms of merging, I'm not sure we've said this before, but you can merge heroes up to Epic. We don't think you're going to be able to merge equipment. I think I'm still kind of like playing around in my head, like how we deal with equipment scarcity. We think it probably makes sense to have you burn equipment for runes in exchange in Roon source. For like a royal seal, you can exchange it into Roon source, but it should be like a lower conversion rate than say what we have our wealth NFTs that we want to do. So this is all kind of stuff that we're still looking at, like how does all this work exactly when it comes to equipment conversion into wealth and wealth into treasure source. So and these are things that we're going to continue to work out as we play. And there's going to be a beta available, so you guys will be able to join us on a beta and kind of play with things, and we all get a chat about like what works, what doesn't work, what do you guys like, what you don't like. So probably what's the cool thing about what's going to happen with Dungeons is that you guys are probably going to have way more feedback than you did in the base game. In the base game, we kind of mostly had things figured out, and we think that went pretty well, with one exception of we thought maybe we minted too many lumberjacks. We made that a little too cheap, but otherwise, we're pretty happy with how everything else worked out. And with Dungeons, you guys will get way more say in terms of like, how are things working out? Does this make sense? Does that make sense? Is there going to be a hyperinflationary problem with too many wealth NFTs? Is there going to be a hyperinflationary problem with too many equipment NFTs out there? So we got to kind of look at that together and kind of think about, all put on our thinking caps and figure out fun, solutions to, problems. And in the end, it's always about making sure that, it takes some time and effort in order to get the rarer, cooler things, and then allow those to be commodities so that you can trade them and make sure that they, the rare things stay rare versus the player base. Let's see. So thank you for that question, Julian. And also, Julian's been really awesome helping us beat the bots back. So appreciate your help doing that. Sometimes bots do show up. Remember, we'll never message you first. If you ever get a message from like a Discord message from someone pretending to be Castles or pretending to be Metasource Games, we do not message you directly, especially with any kind of advertisements like that. Do not click on it. Do not be like, oh, there we go, free drop, because those are just scammers trying to pretend to be us to steal your assets. So do not fall for that stuff. In fact, we recommend you in Discord, you disable direct messages from friends. Sorry, non-friends. People are not friends with you. Like I don't allow anybody to message me who's not a friend, or else I just get messages all day from scammers and other people trying to get my attention. So Debbie Metal says, Discord question: can Explorers Guild raffle tickets be burned now? Yeah, we have no plans to use any of those non-transferable tickets. All right, Eddie Longchain says seal shouldn't be a problem. They're 360 now. Let's see. Creepy, I think it's creepy. Do you have any idea of how much wax fragment will cost? It'll be $35 in whatever the current USD price of wax at that time is. The Philippine secondary market is. And 10% does go to the Royal Courthouse, actually. So if you own a Royal Courthouse bounty, you will get 10% of the wax income there. So Wayne Zero, who's golf lover on Discord, he says, is there going to be a counter on the Heroes fragment screen that will let us know how many of each fragment we have in our wallet? I believe there's one already on there, actually. Yeah, it does. Yeah, if you click on, we go to the blends, it'll tell you how, the Rune Source one actually doesn't have how many fragments have been crafted for the Rune Source yet. But for the packs, it tells you how many have been crafted. And then, for the fragments, for the Metasource and the wax fragment, it does tell you on Nifty blocks. Now, the Rune Source fragment is actually not going to be on Nifty blocks, because Nifty blocks requires that you have a bunch staked inside the swap, and it just doesn't make sense for us to do that right now. We don't think it's a good idea. So instead, we just allowed you guys to craft the Rune Source fragment directly on the website instead of using Nifty blocks. And we'll see about adding a counter to that.
Yeah, we'll make sure, that's a really great feedback. We'll make sure that it's, improvements that we can make. So make sure to leave some interesting feedback about things and suggestions, that's definitely something that we will want to do. And yeah, the big reason, Robert's absolutely right about the Rune Source fragments. We would have had to mint a whole bunch of extra Rune Source and put that into a swap in Alcor, both paired with wax and with Nifty. in order to get that listed on Nifty Blocks. And we don't necessarily have a huge problem with that. But the problem doing it right now, when RuneSource is first introduced, is that there isn't necessarily a terribly established price for it. And so if we put that in there, then we're doing two things wrong. First of all, we're kind of dictating a swap price, which we don't want to do. We want that to be something that's up to you guys. What is RuneSource worth is up to you. That's what we want. We don't want to be dictating what that value is. And then the other problem is, in order to create that swap, we would have to also create the supply. And so it would probably be something like an extra 50,000 or 100,000 RuneSource that we would be minting and putting into the swap, which actually makes it available for somebody to buy. And so that would be us creating the RuneSource, and we want the RuneSource to come exclusively through gameplay. We don't want to just be minting a whole bunch of extra RuneSource outside of gameplay and artificially increasing the supply. We want the supply to be organically grown through crafting land packs and through owning Explorers Guild low and high bounties. That's where the RuneSource should come from, and that's the only place it comes from right now.
And the other portion of his question was, will we have basically some kind of reporting for how much of each fragment you have? That's a good question, because I actually don't think there's an easy way except for like going on the blocks or something. So I made a note of it to add to add that. So let's actually see what. All right, so you already posted that for Victor. So yeah, so we've notified the team to put the RuneSource fragments live. They're not live at the moment, but I think they said they're going to have a meeting close to this time. But that RuneSource fragment crafting should be up pretty soon. All right, so J Ray All Day says, will fragments have a future use besides blending for the hero packs? We don't expect them to. There's almost no reason to do that. So I would say expect that the only use case that those fragments are going to have are for those hero packs.
It's a fun idea, but right now the supply is limited based on how many hero packs we're going to make. So every fragment. So if that's part of the question, it could potentially be a kind of an unspoken part of the question, like, oh, what if there's too many Metasource fragments and I can't make them into packs? Well, where there's only a supply limit of how many can be made into packs. There won't be extras. So every one of those fragments has a use case already. Even the ones that haven't even become available yet, their use case is already done. And, in the future, will we release more that you can blend into more hero packs? Well, that's not totally for sure yet. We'll see. The fragment system is a cool system. So will we potentially reuse it in other places in the future? Yes, we can potentially reuse it, but it may not be exactly the same. We may not, the current Metasource fragments, it may be a different template for a different denomination. Right, that right now each Metasource fragment costs exactly 1 million Metasource in order to make it, and in the future, are we going to do a 500,000 one that can be blended into something else, or a 2 million one that blends into something different? That's something that potentially could happen, but we don't have any plans for that right now.
So J.O. Ray says, will there be hero-specific gear? Well, each of the heroes like Luna and who's the Spellbinder and Bancroft the Thief and the Knight, they all have gear that is specific to that particular class. So you like Luna cannot equip a sword that is for the Knight. The same way that a Knight can't equip a scroll that is for the Spellbinder. So each hero is going to. So basically, let's put it another way. When you open up these packs, there's a chance that you actually might get gear that is not for the hero that you looted from that same pack. So if you open one of the standard packs and you get, let's say, a uncommon Luna, but you end up getting like a sword and for the knight, and you end up getting like a dagger for the thief. Well, then Luna actually can't use either of those things. So your options are either you you hold them for the hero type that you're going to get from another pack later if you think you're going to basically collect all the heroes, or you can trade what you're not going to use with another player. And this is kind of where the strategy of the game comes in is, do you want to specialize in one type of hero? Do you just want to build like the best Luna and get her up to the mythic gear? Or do you want to be a generalist? Do you want to have like an uncommon or rare of all the other heroes? And that's going to be your focus. So there's going to be all kinds of ways that you can play this when it comes to the heroes and the monster crafting and the way that whole market's going to work. We're really excited for it. We think it's going to be really cool to kind of look at like, trading assets and how to get them. If you guys remember Farmer's World, one of the things that helped it really take off was it had this 3 token economy between the wood, the gold, and the food, and there was a lot of intertrading between the three because there was a lot of specialization. Now, in the end, their game economy crashed because of hyperinflation, and it just didn't scale well. But we think that idea of like wanting to trade assets is very important, and there's a little bit of that in Castles right now, but it's not at. But the dungeoning trading market's going to be on a whole new level. And we think it's going to be really cool and exciting. You guys are going to love it. Let's see. So hopefully that answers your question, Jay Ray. He says, perfect. Thank you for the answers. Whoa. Had like a motorcycle drive right by yourself.
Yeah. Rude.
The Roon source still says under.
It may take a few minutes to get the contract fired up. I don't know how long.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, guys. We kind of, I guess, communication didn't totally get through to the team to get that up at 2 o'clock. We've had a lot of things going on, but we don't think it's really game breaking. It's kind of the fragment thing is kind of like a minor release, and that it's meant for you guys who play the game and are loyal to the game. And the reason that we did it with the Metasource fragments and the Rune source fragments, and we've done the whole fragment thing, is because you guys play the game, you're way more likely to go through the trouble and learn what it takes to build one of these packs rather than just like, drop it on the Nifty Blocks market and just let everybody fight over them. So it's really why we do this whole fragment thing. So you guys who are loyal players have a much higher chance of getting these packs before anybody else. And this is just the first of the pre-sales. We think we're probably going to have another pre-sale, but we're still kind of in talks about how and when we're going to do those things. So Mark Wazer says, what happens if you have more fragments than you can use? Well, then I'd suggest you trade them with other people who might have fragments that you need. If you go to the dungeons page right now, you go to hero packs. If you click on more info at the bottom, or rather where the hero packs are, it'll tell you exactly how many fragments and seals you need to make each of these packs. So you'll be able to basically do the math right there. You'll be like, okay, so I want to make 2 exalted packs. So that means that I'm going to need 4 wax fragments, 6 Rune source fragments, 4 Metasource fragments, and 4 royal seals. So you're able to do that math there. So you're not left wondering. We do have the crafting cost for the packs on that page. Yeah, sure. It is. If you just go to the dungeons on the website, but I'll go ahead and I'll post it here. Hopefully it shows up, and it's sometimes the YouTube doesn't like the the links and stuff. So that's what it is. It's castlesnft.io/game/hero packs. And that is the hero pack page. It's also under dungeons. And they're probably not up yet. It's not we've heard anything from Victor, but soon. Sorry, guys. So
Yeah.
any other questions?
It may not come up by the end of the stream, but it'll be up here shortly, one way or another.
Any other questions? I'm sure I probably missed some questions above. Let's see.
Yeah, if we missed anything, feel free to repost it now. We're not trying to ignore you on purpose, but the chat does occasionally go by fairly quick. And
I thought we'd have more questions, but I don't know.
Maybe everybody's happy. They're just wanting to get their packs.
Yeah, or we blew their minds with too much information. They're just, oh my God, this game's getting so big.
They're ready to start getting some rewards, which I'll start working on as soon as we're done here.
Yeah. But Josh has been traveling. How do you like being back in California?
It's too hot.
Too hot. Too hot where you are, which is it's a little really warm today out here in San Jose. But yeah. California's definitely hotter than Montana. Savage Santee says, slow down and need more seals. Yes, me too.
That's
Savage.
always the answer.
I need more of everything. I need more seals. I need more fine wood. I need more lumber. Yeah, every day I'm just like, damn, I ran out.
Yeah, every day, the same thing. Every day since the land pack crafting, I've been operating with 0 seals every day. Whatever I get from my castles immediately goes into recharging whatever it is that I need to recharge, and then I'm at 0 again. So it's pretty cool.
K. Peter says, I love we have the full game loop up and running and people can see the full circle. Been charging them lumberjacks and carpenters. Awesome. Us too. And so we've been also chatting with our new marketing coordinator, and she's been doing a great job reaching out to possible partners and collaborations and interviews, and she's getting onboarded with the game now. So I think she said she was going to officially first start playing it today. She's also a gamer, so it's great to have her on the team. And she's pretty much what we were looking for exactly in someone who had experience doing marketing coordinating, and also was a gamer. So it's really exciting to see that. And who believes that this space is the next big thing. Like we're a very small company now, but we're going to be huge coming up here. Let's see. Smarty says, hello, in the future, will there be another use for Metasource? Well, yeah, we're going to have the Roon Source Crafter coming up here. We still don't have an exact name for it yet today. Today I was playing with the idea of like, maybe we call it the Roon Master. He seems like he thinks it might not be terrible. I like it because it's very clear what it does. It's like, where do I get Roon Source? Oh, wait, what's the Roon Master? Does that have something to do with Roon Source? It might, but whatever we do, I think it probably should have like Roon in the title somewhere. I was originally playing with the idea of Alchemist Forge or something like that, but it's too much of like, what does that do? What does an Alchemist Forge do? And but I think it's more,
I like do a little mash. Rune Chemist. It's an alchemist, but Rune Chemist
isn't that bad.
It's obviously a work in progress, guys, but that is we've talked about it. We've talked about it a number of times.
It could be like a person instead of a crafter. Rune Forge, maybe. But yeah. So, anyways, I kind of went off track there. But yeah, you will be able to use M-Source for crafting that. And I'm thinking I used to think that we would use M-Source and the Royal Seals, but the more I think about it, I'm like, that's basically the same thing as like lumber from a lumberjack. So maybe we just have it be lumber from a lumberjack for fine wood. I think we're gonna have to do the math for like what we think the appropriate conversion is. But I think maybe we just go ahead and use the existing crafters in order to generate that Roon Source. I don't know. We'll have to see, because it might lower the barrier of entry just to have the M-Source directly crafted with the Royal Seal on the for this Roon Source crafter. But beyond that, we haven't talked too much about this, but once the Dungeons expansion is out, Then we'll be doing new expansions with new heroes. So what it'll probably look like is a couple of months, maybe like a month or two after the original Dungeons Rising release. Then we'll have another expansion that continues the story. Has a new little bit of story coming up. And probably has like two new heroes, theoretically two new heroes, and basically there will now be new monsters that are only vulnerable to these new heroes. So you'll have to basically fight these new monsters to get new equipment from these new heroes, and at that point we will also release like new mythical and probably legendary armor sets for the other heroes. So there will be new armor sets for the new heroes to collect, and these new heroes to now upgrade and specialize in. And so we'll keep doing that and continue doing like these little expansions of like releasing more story, releasing more heroes. But parallel to that, what we want to start releasing is, it's not set in stone yet because there are different ways it could go. I know there are some people who like PvP and things like that, but I'm actually kind of more interested in exploring the self-expression side of things. I think it's kind of cool to like collect things that you want to show off and have. And so I think the route to go for that is with what we call showrooms. So the showrooms would be, so you have like a castle antechamber, and inside the castle antechamber, you can place like a throne, you can put like a king, you can put a queen. They could have different color variations, and you would basically get them inside of these loot boxes. And I love loot boxes. I just heard recently that Overwatch 2 was going to stop using loot boxes, and I'm like, why? Because of peer pressure? I'm like, I love loot boxes. Like, whose freaking idea is this? This is stupid. I mean, I don't know. It's like for some reason, like Vegas has been around for like, I don't know, 80 years. But then for some reason, Blizzard thinks like suddenly like loot boxes are amoral. I'm like, really? I'm like, all right. Anyways, I think, M-Source would probably be a part of that. M-Source would be a part of, getting these loot boxes. And, what does it take to build a loot box? Probably like M-Source and a Royal Seal, maybe even like Treasure Source, probably it would be a part of the actual full economy. And you need all those things in order to build these loot boxes. And, and there'd be scarcity with the loot boxes. There'd only be like, like a 1,000 thrones released or something for the showroom. And there'd probably be leaderboards for upgrading the showroom and stuff like that. So this is still, the showroom stuff is probably like the beginning of next year is when we would probably start development of that or think of having something released. It's kind of far off. We're going to have to see how things are going with dungeoning. But that would be the next leg of things. So, the goal is to always have a lot of stuff for M-Source to do. But the other thing to remember is that M-Source is the most hyperinflationary asset in the game. That's really how it is designed, is to be the most hyperinflationary asset. So something that we've noticed with farms is that, the real value of farms, isn't even really the M-Source that you're getting because it's so abundant right now. It's the value of getting a castle. So I think there are probably changes coming to M-Source. We've only talked about it very lightly, Josh and I on the team. We've talked about reducing the amount of M-Source generated by lands. And maybe it's something we'll start to ask you guys more about. Like, what do you guys think about, like, at the doubling, reducing M-Source pre-doubling at 350K? I'm kind of open to these things. But right now, M-Source is really hyperinflationary. And things are not quite going the way I thought they would, because I thought we would have probably at least 2 to 3 times more players than we do right now. And it's a couple of things. It's been the difficulty in onboarding users. It's been, the bear market for like crypto and NFTs and very highly probable recession. global recession. So, these things have been impacting the new users coming into Wax, and I think that's kind of also influencing the way I perceive the inflation of M-Source. I'm kind of like, maybe we should kind of turn the spigot down on M-Source, but once we start turning that down, we can't, we won't turn it back up again. So, I'm still stuff for Josh and I to talk about. We have a lot of other things to think about. But M-Source is really supposed to be the most hyperinflationary and the most, I would say, kind of the one that's easiest for us to manipulate, because we can like reduce it if we need to. But there are other things that we don't want to manipulate, like how many what's it take to build a castle, because that's been set for such a long time. So anyways, kind of a big conversation about M-Source, but when you do play the game, it's always good to remember that M-Source is probably going to be the most hyperinflationary asset, and just kind of play the game accordingly. I keep trying to tell people that it's really the castles is where the juice is, and it's why it's so hard and takes so many resources to create a castle. And as there are more players, we think it's just going to get harder to make more castles. So hopefully that's a good explanation. She going to be part of future streams? Monica, yeah, we can ask her if she wants to be a part of them. See if she wants to join us. Let's see, as Azazel says, it is worth to start playing with one farm. I think just to get your feet wet, yeah, there's no problem just getting a farm. But really to like play the game, you do need some bigger assets. And this is kind of the way the base land game is designed, is that if you want to access the best parts of the game, you do need to have a castle, or at least you want to have a castle, or you want to have a baron. If you have a baron or a castle, that's going to really start to get you access into the more desirable or the more premium parts of the game that really allows you to sustain your playability and be able to take more actions a day. And that's just how it's designed. There are other games that just try to make everything dirt cheap, but we do want some parts of the game to basically be difficult to you're not able to take all that many actions a day unless you have more resources. So with one farm, you're basically only able to claim once a day. And if your plan there is to basically like buy a couple of farms and make what people keep calling return on investment, that's not what I would not buy a farm based on that. I would buy a farm based on what you can do with it in the game. So I mean, honestly, this is really not a game for someone who can only spend like maybe $3 to buy a farm and merge one farm into a ranch. You probably do want to be doing more, which is why with dungeons we actually do want to release a basically a infinite supply hero that you can buy for $10, and you get 30 charges and basically get to play with this hero. You'll probably be able to earn like certain cosmetics, and what kind of value does this hero supply you? Otherwise, we're still kind of evaluating. But I think the point of the $10 hero is to make it fun. So it's like, but yeah, anyway, so that's kind of my really big explanation on farms is, really you want to go for the assets that give you playability into the game. And if you're having fun, you're having fun. That's really what it's all about. If you buy one farm, you're not having fun, that's okay. You can sell your farm and the game wasn't for you. All right. Let's see. Azazel says he's a free-to-play player. This really isn't a free-to-play game. That's just really the way it is. Maybe we'll have free-to-play systems for other games later, but we think that just go over free-to-play systems. We think free-to-play systems on blockchain games have gone really horribly. Why? Because access to the blockchain is a scarce resource in itself. And so that just doesn't work, because what happens is, especially with Alien Worlds, was that a lot of people just jumped into Alien Worlds. They created bots. Even right now, I think a massive amount of the Wax ecosystem is being used by Alien Worlds bots. like not even humans. They're just like scripts written to play that game. And I don't know, it's almost like 70% of it used to be like 95% of the Wax network. Maybe it's less now. I think maybe it's more like 75 or something. But that to me is insane. And that is why we would not want to create a free-to-play game on Wax if I mean, maybe it could be really financially successful, but it would destroy the blockchain and just be completely unsustainable. And so I think if we made a really great free-to-play game on the Wax blockchain, it would probably kill it, and it would just be heavily botted. And that's just the unfortunate truth when it comes to those things. So right now, I mean, you do have to pay to play on a blockchain game, but could there be free-to-play systems later?
I want to interject real
Source.
quick. Let me. It's just important information. The Roon Source Fragment contract is live, so you may craft your Roon Source fragments at any time.
Now, there's not enough Roon Source out there to run out yet, so
not even close.
So yeah, so you guys do have some time to craft those. All right, so James Diaz says this feels like we're missing some dates off next events. If you mean we don't have any events really set up on the calendar, you're right. We haven't been able to update that. There are other things we need to update, like the news page. Please bear with us. We're a very small team, and we're punching above our weight. So please kind of bear with us as we try to get at those things. J Ray all day says the sorcerer. James Zell says, can I have a link to the game, please? It is castlesnft.io. The link is in the description, actually. Let's see. Smarty says, perhaps you should call him the Smarty Source. Do we have to pay you royalties then, Smarty? Because I think that's a bad deal for us. Let's see. Jay Ray says, will there be treasure source bounties? We've talked about a possible wonder having to do with heroes, but it's still kind of like too far in the future, and we have so much going on that it's like, when would we do it? I feel like if we were to do something that was kind of like a wonder for related to Dungeons, it probably wouldn't be until like a month or so after Dungeons is released, just because there's so much for us to do to make sure things are working, to add quality of life features. So it's really kind of too early to be thinking about like bounties or some kind of like wonder for the Dungeons right now. We'd rather just get the Dungeons out to you the way it's been designed, because just doing each of those wonder events actually does take a week or week and a half, I mean minimum, to 2 weeks for us to develop, and we think we get them out to you guys pretty fast. Our smart contract developer on Apex NFT, he's really good. He's like really good. He's really a sorcerer with that. He's quite a wizard when it comes to smart contracts, but still we have to do the interface, all that stuff. So TBD, we'd like to do something that is a wonder for Dungeons, but how it manifests might not be exactly like Roon Source bounties exactly. There might be more to it, because we're really not about building what we call like the Ponzi-nomics, where it's just like make sure that the guys at the top get a piece everybody else does. We try to build it so it's actual game, so that when you have these assets, they're all about the gameplay. They help facilitate to you gameplay that is smart in a macroeconomic scale. And if I could talk about one thing that I feel that Josh and I have done really so well so far, is macroeconomics. And we think this is something that pretty much almost all other blockchain games, NFT games have been completely bad at, is macroeconomics. And what is macroeconomics? Well, it's basically the universal understanding of supply and demand and how that operates. And there are many factors, supply and demand, right? But that's really what it comes down to. And I think we've actually managed that inside of our game as a team. We've been able to kind of figure out where the touch points for supply and demand, what are people going to want, and what are they going to be willing to pay other players for, or exchange or trade for other players for. And so we think we've actually done a pretty good job so far. There's macroeconomics, with the exception of the lumberjack snafu. But maybe that was a little too cheap for the lumberjacks and to get that lumber. Julian says, Overwatch loot boxes are trash only because you can't trade the random assets that you don't want. NFT loot boxes are great because you can just sell the assets that you don't want. That's a great point, actually. I mean, that's one of the reasons we built the company, was because, you could buy a loot box, and every time I booted up Overwatch, which is actually one of my favorite games, every time I booted it up, I'd be like, this game would be great if you could just trade the items in the loot box, but you can't. So great point there, Julian. You're right. And we do let you trade your assets. That's the whole point of what we're building here. Let's see. Savage Santi says, what about at some point going into a second chain like Cardano, Sol, or Pulse chain? That's a great question, Santi. And for those of you who don't know, Savage Santi has covered us a couple times on this channel, so thank you for supporting our game. We appreciate it. So we've talked about it, but there's really no reason for us to do it just yet. I think because one of the biggest challenges is still onboarding more users. I think we wouldn't even really think about going to another blockchain until we had thousands and thousands of users. And I mean like daily users. I was looking at our registered tables, and we actually have about 1,500 users who are registered in the game, currently earning assets inside the game right now. But we only have about like 400, 500 daily active users, like people who are consistently playing the game. But there's some people who are there and they're just like earning on lands and stuff like that. And so we're about 1,500 for there. But, I don't think the market is big enough anywhere for us yet to go on something like, a different blockchain. So, and each one has their own problems. Like, honestly, guys, right now, the only blockchain that makes the most sense, that has basically the most playability, is the Wax blockchain. Solana keeps going down, has all kinds of connection issues. I actually play a game called Star Atlas on Solana. Sometimes it just doesn't want to work. I don't know why, it just doesn't. And then sometimes the whole net just goes down. It's gone down a couple of times now completely. And another one, a good example, is Polygon. Polygon also had an outage recently. Binance Smart Chain. Every transaction still costs quite a bit of Binance Smart Chain. So, that doesn't scale well. If for some reason, the crypto prices keep going up once again, then using the Binance Smart Chain just gets more and more expensive for every transaction. Do you really want to pay 10 cents every time that you merge a land? I don't think you do. I mean, I'm sure Binance is probably maybe less than that. Maybe it's more like 5 cents these days. I don't know. It's been a long time since I used the Binance Smart Chain. But I got sick of like getting nickel and dime by the miners, because all that money goes to the miners, right? Good for the miners, not so great for everybody else. Cardano just doesn't have an evolved smart contract system yet. So it's kind of like, nobody's really building on Cardano. There's a lot of people who want to build on Cardano and say they're going to build on Cardano, but nobody's actually really building on Cardano right now. Wax blockchain has never had an actual outage. I guess it's probably the same for EOS because it's what it's built on. But the Wax blockchain has had congestion, and sure, maybe sometimes you guys get an error that tells you that you can't use the blockchain for another hour because you've maximized your limit. But it doesn't go down completely. After that hour's up, you can go back to using it. But the Wax has never had a complete outage. And I just think that puts it well and above every other blockchain right now. So it's like, should we go on another blockchain? Should we add, it just doesn't make sense to. All those other blockchains are really unreliable right now, and Wax is the only one that's been reliable. But great question. Thank you for asking. So Northside Ragnarok says, are castles going to make the hero as real miniature figures and on a board game with it? I mean, not in the near future, because we'd actually have to model them and that's a completely different thing than what we're doing right now. Right now, we're just like basically painting them because it's like, I don't know, it's almost like 50 times easier to just paint the figures than it is to actually model and paint them. And so it's significantly cheaper for us to just actually make the 2D art. But to make like 3D figures and like a board game, that's a whole other thing. Takes a lot of work. I'm not going to say no, but we do want to build the Castles brand into like one of the biggest brands in video gaming. It's just going to happen over time. Which is, what we haven't talked much about yet in this particular stream actually is the 3D game that we have basically in the planning stage. So we're not building, a Castles 3D game right now, but we're in a planning stage. We're kind of like, well, what should the game be like? How does it work? How does player ownership work inside of this Castles 3D MMO? So it's in a planning stage. We're talking about it. I was actually in a Foundry University this last week to kind of like get my chops wet when it comes to getting financing for the company so that we can get some financing from an investor, like an angel investor, venture capitalist, to basically jump into a Castles 3D game development and start building that. And the goal would be probably having like a playable beta late next year, and then having more and more features come out. It'd be kind of like an early access game for probably the first year or two, and then the actual block, basically the player ownership stuff would come later. But as we said before, if you hold Castle assets right now, all Castle assets and tokens, Metasource included, will basically give you points, and those points will get you assets, like basically be able to buy assets inside of the game based on those points. It'll be like a one-time thing. It'll be like, at this date, we'll convert your assets and we'll make basically points for you based on your asset holdings, and then give you access into the Castles 3D game based on those points, so you can buy like heroes and lands, or maybe trade your points, stuff like that. Let's see. Marty says, we can talk marketing. You see some projects have filled large committees of Chinese players for the development of the game. Do you have any policy to attack the Chinese market? Well, I'm not Chinese. I don't know much about the Chinese market. But if you ever want to, go into the Discord and tell me what these people are doing to target Chinese players. We are a global company. So if that country allows people to use our game, we allow that too. But in particular, I don't know how to target the Chinese market. I'm not sure Josh does either. Really, we just try to target, people who want to own their assets, and we're Americans, so we kind of know how to target an American audience. But definitely, we do have an international audience as well. And really, I think good gameplay is mostly universal. I've explained this before, but when it comes to the merging concept of the game, there's kind of a basically there's the hunter-gatherer instinct, and as human beings we have an instinct to hunt things and gather things and to build things. So the Castles economy is very much centered around that. Like, you want to go get 3 farms, so then you can merge it into merge the farm into a ranch. And that is very much the hunter-gatherer concept, that to get berries, put it in the basket, and then go cook a meal. Like, that is very, it's very instinctual between all human beings. And that very base gameplay, I think, is, would be universal for anybody who's in the Chinese, anything like that. But again, like with free-to-play, just wouldn't work with the blockchain as it is right now. Julian M says it's not accurately point on Cardano, but I agree with Wax being the best for Castles currently. I mean, it's been almost, what is it now? I mean, it's been almost 9 months since we seriously looked at development for Cardano. But 9 months ago, from what we saw, like I think their smart contract stuff was still in beta testing. So, I mean, is it possible that Cardano went from, beta testing their smart contract system into having smart contracts really deployed for games right now? Maybe. I haven't looked at it in a long time, but 9 months ago, didn't really exist. We actually talked to a Cardano developer, and he was kind of showing us, and we were like, oh my gosh, like this is nascent. Like this is really nascent. Like they're not even out of beta testing phase. Let's see. But yeah, joined since 9 months ago. Their smart contract stuff didn't exist. Yeah, but yeah, so that's kind of what we got to talk about. I think we've covered most questions. Is there any more questions maybe about Castles 3D? Again, very early, but it's always kind of fun to talk about the concepts of things. But any other questions? I think you guys are boring Josh. Look at him.
No, I'm working on.
I figured you were. That setting up the.
Yeah, I'm getting the pack sent out. I've got the first 100 have been sent so far.
Woo! Look at this man work. I figured that's probably what he was doing once he started to talk. I was like, oh, now I know what he's doing. I thought he was playing League of Legends.
Yes. I'm just jamming away.
I had a cousin who, like, every time I would call him, it would just be like he'd be playing League of Legends, and all he would hear is just like, and it's like, dude, I'm talking to you. And I don't know, always kind of bothered me. I was just like, gosh, man. Christopher A. Taylor says, how being banned can I keep up with announcements and important info about the game? I believe in you guys and your game, and I have a lot invested. Well, we have our news page. So we do try to keep up with the news page and keep everything posted there. I know that, if you've been banned from the Discord, can be a little more difficult. We also try to post all current events on the Twitter. Now that there's more on the team, there is me and Josh, and now Monica on the marketing team. We're basically posting way more about what's happening on the Twitter. So probably the Twitter, I would say, would be your best bet. We do try to keep up with the Twitter feed to be up to speed with the announcements on Discord, because we do know that not everybody is either on Discord or wants to use Discord, so that option is there. But I would say if you keep up with basically the Twitter feed, you should be pretty good. Let's see. All right, I think we're pretty close to shutting down the stream. A really good stream, good talk.
We're about halfway on the Explorers Guild Raffle pack rewards. So if you were in the first 200 people, you should have yours. And you're welcome to start opening them and bragging about your excellent haul of loot.
At farms. If you only get farms, we don't want to hear about it.
We'll commiserate with you. We'll commiserate together. Because that's
commiserate. What does that mean again? Commiserate?
When you're miserable and sad, and you're with other people, so you're sad and miserable together.
Oh, I hate that. Yeah. Oh, it says to express or feel sympathy or pity or sympathize. I hate pitying people. I don't know about sympathizing either. I just want to be awesome. But yes, if you really need someone to be miserable with you, I guess we can do that.
We know all of Robert's packs are going to be farms. I mean, his RNG, we know.
My day is coming. My day is coming. I think I got like a banker pack, I think, last time, so it wasn't terrible. But I still got like all farms out of the banker pack. I think I got something else too. I think I got like a minstrel pack. I actually think my last one was better than any of the other previous raffles, which were basically all farms. But the last was like, oh my god, like I got a banker pack, and then you opened yours, and then you got like the freaking bounties, and then you got like what did you get, like a king's pack or king's vault or something like that too.
I don't know. I don't remember. All I remember is I got one of the high bounties. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, you get the high bounty. I just when you got a decent pack. Maybe it was
I think you're right. I don't remember what it was, but I think you're right. Maybe it was a banker or a king. I don't know. I don't think it was a king.
I think it was
but maybe
king,
It might have been a banker or something.
Yeah, just when I was starting to feel special, you got the banker pack too, and I was like, "Oh, master!" Just totally outdone me.
We'll have to go back and look at the footage. We did it on stream.
Yeah, it wasn't captured on stream. Creepy says, "Where do we open the pack?" You can do it on either, I think, either Nifty Blocks, or
no, it's
just Nifty Blocks.
Yes, yeah,
just Nifty Blocks. Nifty. So you have to go Nifty Blocks. Or
it may need a refresh on the Nifty. So if it's not openable yet, just give it a minute. I only finished linking it up a little bit ago, so it may take a little bit of time. So just be aware. I actually don't know. I've never tested the delay from like making it live. So I don't know. It was just a few minutes ago.
That I can. I want to make sure that because I did win like 2 or 3 packs. So let me see. If it shows up under my screen. It's taking a couple of seconds. You know what? It's not showing up as a pack under my packs.
Yeah, it may just need a minute.
Did we make the packs right? That's what I'm wondering.
Let me go in and double check it.
Oh, now it's showing up.
Here we go.
Yeah.
I had to update a thing. I had to update a line.
Okay. There we go. All right, guys. Should be fixed. Should be fixed.
Let me double check this. So many things. There we go. Yeah, it should work now.
So Smarty says, I don't know if you already talked about it, but will it be possible to merge a common hero to an uncommon hero, for example? Yes, you will be able to merge heroes, but only up to an epic rarity. You will not be able to merge to either legendary or mythics. Legendary mythic heroes can only be looted. We actually think they'll be fragments, so you'll combine the fragments to basically to create a legendary or mythic hero. But yeah, you'll be able to take 3 common heroes, merge them to an uncommon, and so on and so forth up to an epic. And there's going to be some scarcity in terms of like merges allowed and amount of heroes that can be looted. So as there are more heroes being looted, as there are more heroes being merged, both those things probably separately are going to become scarcer. The cost to blend heroes is probably going to go up, and the same thing like with castles. The scarcity concept is that eventually it just might not even make sense to burn 3, common heroes to upgrade it to an uncommon. It just might not make sense because it might be too expensive unless you really want to pay that. It'll probably just be far cheaper to just buy it off secondary market at some point. But we do want there to be value for you in the first couple of merges or being able to do those things. But yeah, there will be a global scarcity to being able to merge heroes. So if you're going to merge your heroes, you probably want to do it early as possible. And there is parts of the economy this requires. It does require some items that are made from what we call the dungeon tomes. So there's going to be a whole economy around merging heroes. Professor Dumbledore says the Roon source frags show up on Nifty Blends page, in the drops page. It should show up in your inventory.
I think his question is
I see what he's
to
saying.
Purchase them, and it won't.
Yeah.
And the reason we actually talked about this earlier, in order to list it on the Nifty drops page, we would have had to mint a whole bunch of extra Roon source. and set up liquidity pools for it, which is possible that we do something like that in the future. But right now it didn't make sense because in order to do that, we would have had to mint a whole bunch of extra, thus increasing the supply by that much. And we didn't really want to be manipulating the market like that. We would be establishing the liquidity pool, and we have to add a lot of Roon source. It was going to be, well, that is for Alcor, but that's what Nifty Blocks requires in order to list it on Nifty Blocks is a big amount of liquidity on Alcor. That's what they require. And we went through the process for getting Metasource listed, and we probably will with Roon source at some point in the future, but we didn't want to do it so early because we kind of felt like we'd be manipulating the price a little bit, and that's not that's not something that we wanted to do. The amount of fragments is going to be 3,000 for that. And so right now there isn't an easy way to see how many are left, other than just checking the mint number and subtracting it from 3,000. That's a fairly easy math, but we will probably update the site to show him how many have been crafted and how many are left. Good feedback, though.
All right, I'm going to open up. Oops, wrong page. We're going to open up pack here. So I did get three packs.
The very last section of packs should have just been sent out, so everybody should now have theirs.
There we go. Got a ranch from my Explorers Guild pack. Another one. Baron or Castle. Banker pack again. Not terrible. It's my second banker pack out of these raffle events. I'll take a banker pack, sure. No problem. Beggars can't be choosers. And a farm. So ranch, banker pack, farm. So I refresh this. Probably see my banker pack. Oh my gosh. What the frick? You know what? I opened a Seafarer pack today and I got 5 farms. And the last Seafarer pack I bought had 5 farms. So RNG, baby. Just RNG has no, I am not like RNG's favored son.
I just like that we called it earlier. Like, Robert's just gonna get a whole bunch of farms anyways.
I still have these 2 land packs, Explorers packs, that I haven't opened yet. Maybe something good will be in here. The village, baby. I've got to go wash my screen down now, but better not be 2 farms.
Oh, double ranch.
Better than nothing. It's basically like 6 farms. I'll take it.
That's pretty. That's pretty good odds. That
actually is pretty good odds.
That was pretty good. Yeah, that was actually pretty uncommon.
All right, and remember, guys, you can now go
Screenception.
Screenception. You can now go to this page here and start crafting your Roon source fragments. And see here now that I'll have my brand new Roon source fragments. Let's see how many people have crafted so far. We got 70 Roon source. That's a lot of fragments crafted actually. But 70 of these Roon source fragments crafted. It's awesome. Awesome. Get rid of screenception. Oh, right. Publisher says limited number of Roon source frags. If so, how do I see how many are left? We actually made a note today to add that next week, so you guys can see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dalio got a city. What? Did you get the city, Dalio? You lucky bastard. That's a good one. There's only, what, one city?
Three.
Three cities.
cities.
So 3 cities. Not bad, though. It's, that's, get you 1/3 of the way to Castle. It's pretty good.
Nice. Oh,
Get
in
to merging those
Discord,
farms, Rob.
yeah, that's right. In Discord, looks like Nappy got one of the Explorers Guild high bounties. He got number 2. So
Oh.
congrats, Nappy, 87. Very awesome.
Congratulations, Nappy. Enjoy that Explorers Guild bounty. That is nice. That
Very
is
nice.
nice. We share in all the fun. All right. Well, I guess we're going to shut down the stream. You guys are amazing. Thank you for playing. Remember to go tell your friends. Go tell your friends that player ownership is here. Castles is the best Castles is the best blockchain game, period. My opinion, I'm biased, but come on, guys. Come on. This game is awesome. And thank you, Josh, for joining me today. Any final words before we sign off?
Thank you guys so much for everything. Thank you for all the support. The continued support is awesome. That's what we continue doing it for. We really appreciate all the retweets lately, and all of the Reddit upvotes and comments and etc. Keep it coming. That's how we're going to get to more people to see and join us. So thank you guys so much.
All right, Deadly Metal, RNG is a cruel mistress. That is true. Dahalo says great MA. So yeah, thank you guys for joining us. Remember to like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next video.